Hello, we're back for another video on the Lost Island map. Today we're going to be showing off the best ways to farm element on the map. As you all know, this is not the greatest map to farm element. You can't farm it naturally anywhere, so without further ado, let's get straight into the video. So we've gone back to ARK's original routes, like the island map, where you have to just farm Tek Creatures or do the boss fight. So the first and probably the best way to farm element is actually do the boss fight. Dinopithecus King will drop decent amounts of element. The amount you receive will depend on the difficulty you do the boss fight on. Gamma difficulty will drop 60, beta difficulty will drop 165, and alpha will drop a whopping 330. The second two ways are all about farming element dust. First, we'll just skim over really quickly about the Tek wild creature spawns. Of course, they are super rare. The only one worth mentioning for me that I have found commonly spawned in certain areas is the stego, which spawns very commonly around the green obelisk area and all the areas below in the jungle. It's quite a large area, and if you just look where I am now, 56.3 lat, 53.8 longitude, you can see there's a lot of stegos around me. There's a Tek one there, we've got 3 underneath me, there's more over here, as you can see. There's at least 10 around me in this area here, so it's a very common area. All the other creatures aren't really worth mentioning because they're so rare. But this is a very good location, potentially finding some Tek stegos to chop right up. And I always find the best way to chop them up is just with the chainsaw. We'll go into more detail about cutting them up with chainsaw in the next method. So let's move on to the next method. The other alternative and better method for farming element dust is to tame up a load of these Tek creatures. Make sure you got a male and loads of females. Get them to mate, get them to pop a load of eggs out, hatch the babies. It is better to let them mature fully because you will get more element dust from fully mature creatures than babies. So there are 5 types of Tek creatures that spawn in the wild. We've got the T-Rex, Stegosaurus, Raptors, Parasaurs, and Trikes. But which ones are worth breeding when you want to farm element dust? I have been testing this extensively for the last few hours. What is best to harvest their corpses? I have used a couple of creatures. We tried a mantis with picks and swords, ascendant, primitive, all pumped into melee, so 605 melee, and I can safely say it's not that great at farming. It got considerably less than the chainsaw on everything. Same with the Ferrozinos. We had a Ferrozino with 156% power harvesting levels, and a delicate one with 156 also into delicate levels. Tried these on all the creatures and they got considerably less again than the chainsaw did. So chainsaw is the way forward, 100%. I have also tried out a good chainsaw and a primitive one, ascendant 250 plus damage, and it's very questionable. I don't know if it really matters. Sometimes you get the odd extra with the ascendant one, and then sometimes you get lower than the primitive one. It's a bit inconsistent. So just some things you need to know about each Tek creature, breeding times, and how much I roughly got from their corpses with the chainsaw. It doesn't matter on levels of these creatures, or you'd have to level them up. These are just level 18s. Compared them to max level ones, and it still gave me the same amount of element dust. So yeah, the T-Rex averaged about 47 to 75 element dust from a corpse after cutting them up with the chainsaw. Breeding times are 3 days 23 hours. Stegosaurus average 15 to 23 element dust. They take 2 days and 3 hours to mature fully to an adult. Trike averaged 12 to 23 element dust. Breeding times are 1 day and 22 hours. Raptors, surprisingly, average the most for one of the smaller creatures, 15 to 30 element dust off a corpse, and their breeding times are 1 day and 13 hours. The Parasaur average 15 to 23 element dust. Breeding times are 1 day, 2 hours. Once your babies have fully matured, you're ready to slaughter them. Primitive chainsaw on a Rex corpse, 1 times harvesting, 57 element dust, and this is what we get with the ascendant. 256 damage, 61 element dust, so it's roughly the same. Same goes for the stego. Primitive chainsaw, 20 element dust. Ascendant chainsaw, 18 element dust. We got less. And the trike, 14 element dust. Personally, I think the trike is actually the worst out of all the Tek creatures to farm. 16 element dust off that. Primitive again, 16 element dust. Primitive chainsaw on the raptor, 25 element dust. We go to the ascendant, 15, even less. And then back to the primitive, 25 element dust again. Here's the parasaur, 23 element dust. Ascendant, 16 element dust. Interesting. Couple of tips for the PvEers when killing these guys. If friendly fire is on, the best way to kill them is with the wyvern attacks. If not, however, you can always just cryopod them. Make sure you got the cooldown timer on and just throw them in the water. Let them have a sleep in the water and then they will drown, and then you can slaughter them that way. So the way you craft element dust is if you go to your engrams, type in element. Unstable element is the one you're wanting to unlock. It unlocks at level 58. You need 1000 element dust to craft one, which will spoil into normal element once the timer runs out. And to craft, you just do it in your inventory, and I've got 3000 in my inventory currently, so I can craft 3 of that. So in conclusion, the Tek Parasaur and the Tek Raptors are the best to breed when taking into consideration the time it takes to fully mature them and how much element dust they drop. And the wild summary is the Tek Stego is the best to find in the wild, just because the green obelisk spawn is amazing. That is going to be the end of the video. Hopefully the video was helpful to you all, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Take care, goodbye, see ya!